you don't appreciate the environment, it's too expensive. If you don't appreciate all the work I've done for 20 years of researching the best possible food to put in your mouth and produce, if you don't appreciate that, then my food is too expensive for you, and that's the bottom line. Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, and I'm your chef on a mission. In today's mission, I'm going to talk about the restaurant and reviews and how just the quality of food and the priciness of food. So I got a review the other day, 4-star review. I was like, oh, cool, 4-star review, that's great. And the review reads like this. Great food, excellent presentation, way too pricey with 4, 5 Y's in the way too pricey. Small portions, huge bills. So, every now and then I get this from people that, that just say, your food's expensive, Marcus. Roma time's expensive. You're too pricey. And, so what happens when that happens? I kind of blame myself. I blame myself because I didn't do a good enough job conveying to the guest why our food is what it is. So, and granted, I might not have enough time to do that. If somebody walks down the street and they see the restaurant, they jump in, they might not want to read the whole menu. They might be hungry, they just might want to order a burger. But the thing is, the prices are on the menu, right? So the prices are there. And I got to tell you, I go to eat at a lot of other restaurants because I'm interested to see what other restaurants do. There's a lot of restaurants out there that charge more than me and don't use organic, don't use local, or say they're using local and using 5 local items, and it's amazing. I mean, here, within half an hour from my restaurant, there's places that are 20% more than me, and the portions are less. Like, for example, if I were to give a pound of mussels for $14, they would give 3/4 pound of mussels for 13 or 14 bucks. And I see this all the time. So I scratch my head when people say my price is too high because these other restaurants don't do what I do. And again, I blame myself for this because I'm not conveying to you, the guest. Now, a lot of guests come in here and they're telling me, Marcus, you're not charging enough. The food you're giving, the quality you're giving, the sourcing you do, the in-depth research, education that you provide is very valuable information. We love your stance on no farm salmon whatsoever. So this person really doesn't know or doesn't appreciate. And if you don't appreciate what organic food is, what sustainable food is, sustainable seafood, sourcing local, if you don't appreciate me paying $47 all winter long for local greenhouse broccoli from 40 miles up the road, and you appreciate a restaurant that's charging $1 or $2 less an entree because they're buying Chinese broccoli, and not Chinese, Mexican broccoli all winter long for $19.99, then you're not going to appreciate that I'm spending over twice as much. My tomatoes, one of my bragging points this winter was we bought 1 case of tomatoes from Florida this whole winter. All the other tomatoes were local from here, from right up the road, 40 miles of the road from a winter grower. And they were $60 a case. I could have been buying tomatoes for $20, $25, $28 a case. There was one point after the hurricane that tomatoes were skyrocketed to $80. So my $60 for the 2 weeks was like, yeah, I'm getting a good deal here. But then the price dropped as soon as the winter tomatoes came into Florida. The price dropped right down to $20. And I see chefs buying these. I see the restaurants that are charging as much as me or more than me buying the $20 tomatoes. I see these restaurants buying the cheap kosher salt. I see what these restaurants are buying. I go to the food shows. I do stop at Restaurant Depot for a couple of things because they have an organic this, they have an organic that, they have a biodegradable to-go container. So if I'm in the area in Newburgh, but now Restaurant Depot is not a place that I can get that much of my food at all. So I see the broccoli sitting there and the tomatoes sitting there and I see the salt sitting there and I see the cheese sitting there and I see all this stuff sitting there and I'm like, man, I wished I wish that I could be paying that price and charging what those people do, because again, they're either a buck less or they're more than me. I mean, there's a restaurant 30 minutes from me that's charging $8 more for meatloaf than me, and all my meat comes from local, from a farm that we contract out from. They're just buying, whatever meat on the open market. So, and again, I kind of blame myself, because I didn't do a good job, maybe to that guest, or again, maybe that guest just isn't gonna appreciate no matter what I do. So there's a chiropractor in here that comes in all the time, and he explained to me, Marcus, we're talking about fish oil, and I know you're preaching to the choir when you're talking about high quality ingredients. So it's like, Marcus, you can buy, fish oil from Walmart, you can buy fish oil from GNC, from Vitamin Shop, you can buy fish oil from Whole Foods, you can buy fish oil from Dr. Mercola online, and then you can buy the fish oil that I know, and he went through all the steps in the fish oil. He goes, so as the progression goes up, it's just what you appreciate, right? If you appreciate the cheap fish oil at Walmart, and you don't care about the toxins in it and the heavy metals and all that kind of stuff, then buy it. Be fine. But don't walk into a place and buy stuff that's 5 times the price. Don't come buy my fish oil and then complain about the price when you saw the price up front and you kind of know what you're getting. There's a massive difference. And I did a video 2 weeks ago that I'm not that restaurateur. I'm not that restaurant owner. Jamie and I are not that restaurant owners. We're not the restaurant owners that go to Whole Foods, because a lot of restaurant owners, and I see this, even some big shot restaurant owners, it's just like Obama, when Michelle Obama is planting the organic garden out in front of the White House to feed them, but then Obama turns around and appoints Michael Taylor to head up the FDA, the guy from Monsanto. So there's a conflict of what's going on right there, right in the White House at that time. A lot of restaurateurs are going through the same conflict. The wives or the restaurateur themselves, the husband, if it's a male, they know that the food they're serving every day in their restaurant is not the food they should be eating every day. They know that's not the food that's sustainable. They know that's not the food for the future. So they go to Whole Foods and they buy the good stuff for their family, because they don't want to give their kids cheap French fries. They don't want to give their kids cheap cheese. They don't want to give their kids cheap chicken. They want to go get the stuff and pay more money for it. And I've had a lot of people tell me that they trust my standards over Whole Food standards. Like, we don't serve farm salmon. Whole Foods serves farm salmon. I'm not convinced that their farm salmon it's better, but is it the answer? No, I think Whole Foods can be doing a much better job on their farm salmon. They can go to an inland containment system as opposed to open net pens out in the ocean. So a lot of people say, Marcus, you have higher standards than Whole Foods. So if you're coming into my restaurant and you're expecting, a burger from a pub as opposed to a burger from Whole Foods, those are 2 different burgers, right? So yeah, and I got to tell you, my prices are not much more than that pub burger. My prices are not much more than that pub burger at all. $1.50, $2 the most, maybe, to sit down at a restaurant that's certified green, that every ingredient across the board checks out to have a higher level, to have my seal of approval on. So it's funny that that people just and to answer these things, to answer these reviews, like I can answer them, say go to my website and you can see every ingredient that I buy is this and this, and this person may never ever appreciate. I appreciate the environment. I appreciate the producers. I appreciate high quality ingredients, and that's what I want to keep serving. And that's what I'm going to keep serving. So when I get these, when I get these things that it's a little frustrating because they post these online for other people to see. But you know what? I'm going to stick to my standards. I'm just going to stick to my standards and keep buying the high quality food and keep doing the relationships that I build. Now, you can go to some quote unquote farm to table restaurants. Well, a lot of restaurants say they're healthy. And I know a lot of respectable chefs that really walk it like man, this is the way to go. This is the way you eat this. And I look at the ingredients they buy. They're not buying all the best ingredients. They're buying 12 ingredients from a farm. They're buying this organic, that organic, this. They put this stuff on a pedestal, but then all the foundational ingredients, so the chicken might be organic. The fish might be wild salmon. But the foundation to go into it is not. They're using cheap fryer oil that's GMO, that has hexane gas in it. They're using toxic salt. They're using rancid white flour. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They're using fake olive oil and they're cooking with it. They're turning it toxic. They're using aluminum pans, not stainless steel pans. They're using Teflon. It's leaching into the food, the chemicals, the stuff that goes on and on. They don't care about the chemicals that are in the kitchen. They just keep abusing all that. So, you know, the list goes on and on without those foundational ingredients. So yeah, they put the chicken on the plate and the chicken's organic or the spinach is organic, but everything that else went into it is crap commodity food. And you know, when you go to Whole Foods, they have the pleasure of stocking items that don't really fit their mold, but they know they make money on it, right? So they can stock Pepsi products in Whole Foods. It doesn't say Pepsi on the label when it's sitting there, right? But Pepsi owns the brand. General Mills owns the brand. And if Pepsi owns a brand, it's a highly profitable brand. If General Mills owns it, it's a highly profitable brand. So they have tons and tons of ingredients across the board that are highly profitable, commodity organic, commodity natural. I wished I had that luxury to have stuff that I make massive margins on. All my ingredients across the board, like I said, are at that higher level. So when this person says, you know, you're way too pricey, I'm not pricey enough. I mean, I deserve to make money as well. I deserve to support my family. I deserve to have money for myself. I deserve to make a living. And you know, and it's hard to make a living in this business. It's super hard to make. It's not an easy thing. And when I'm dedicated to buying the stuff that I eat myself to give to you, that even adds another element to it. So yeah, am I too expensive? I don't think I'm expensive enough. A lot of people don't think I'm expensive enough. But if you don't appreciate the food, it's too expensive. If you don't appreciate the environment, it's too expensive. If you don't appreciate all the work I've done for 20 years of researching the best possible food to put in your mouth and produce, if you don't appreciate that, then my food is too expensive for you, and that's the bottom line. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please hit like, subscribe, and pass it on.